I need you, Lord, to hold my hand.
Well, some of the tools we found at the crime scene actually had the name Barry engraved in it. And then somebody snapped and said, well, Sean Barry has got a loud, dark-colored pickup. And everybody fanned out then to try to find Sean Barry. And one of our deputies stopped him on a traffic stop 15 minutes later. And he did have insurance, his license plate was out, had all kinds of stuff wrong with his vehicle. One of the PD officers, I think, said, well, you know what, old Bill King's living with him and some other guy, they were all in prison, that was in prison with him. And it just took off from there.
And these three guys were in jail within 72 hours of finding that body. None of these defendants had any assaultive offenses on their record, especially nothing that would have indicated the crime that they were about to commit.
And Guy James Gray and I went in there somewhere around 3:30. He said, we're not out at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning on a hunt. We know what we got. And that's when I started talking to Sean. I said, Sean, we know what happened. Here's what I told him. I said, I'm going to the FBI in the morning because I know this man, why this guy was murdered. And that's a civil rights violation. It's a federal offense. And I'm going to the FBI in the morning. And the only promise I can make you is that you'll be the first one the FBI talk to. He said, if you'll let me have a cigarette and a cup of coffee, I'll tell you what took place. Sean Barry told us that night they went to F with an N and it got out of control. Bill King and Lawrence Russell Brewer were both in the Ku Klux Klan. You know, in a trial, we got their blood oath, and we did the DNA on the blood on their oath. You know, we had some writings from prison. Some of his writings were interpreted by other prison inmates, people that was friends of his, as if there was going to be a 4th of July bash here where they were talking about maybe murdering or hurting a black person on the 4th of July.
Be my friend while I'm on his teacher's journey.
After that, I didn't realize how easy I had it before this came. I had to get busy. I had to keep the peace in the city because peace what we really wanted, okay? And we didn't want nothing to get out of line like wildfire. You know, gangers to come in here and do this and do that.
And some did come with retaliation on their minds. Like, you know, the Black Panthers came and others came hoping for retaliation.
One of the first things the ministers did after James Byrd's death was to ask permission from the city council to take that fence down so that there wasn't this barrier, physical barrier anyway, between the white graves and the African American graves. I remember also I was walking out of the post office one day and I was wearing my yellow pin, and a lady came up and said that she had spoken disparagingly of the African Americans to her daughter, who was in high school, and her daughter reminded her that as a community we needed to stop that. And she said she was going to make a real effort to stop seeing black and white, but to start seeing people.
It made us reevaluate our own selves on thoughts and actions and attitudes toward black people. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everybody in Jasper did that. Because there are a lot of people that did, including me.
In some cases, we feel like that we have done some things a little better, because at the end of the day, the trials of James Byrd's murderers, that they received their just penalties. And I think that was probably the most redeeming factor for the community, is that how that they went to trial and were convicted for those murders and received the appropriate punishment. What those three guys learned their hate from was not from Jasper. They learned it in prison. There were ex-convicts who were part of militant gangs in prison, and that's where they learned to do what they did, not from Jasper. And it was clear to most of us that there were too many people here who knew that was not the normal behavior of people in Jasper.
But we're not the community that those three men portrayed us to be.
I'm here to tell you, Jasper came out of this okay. But you know what? Jasper survived that storm.
That's hate. We need to get it out of our society. The only answer is do unto others, and you will have them do unto you. If all of us would practice that, and hate would vanish.
Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me while I'm on his teacher's journey. I need you, Lord, to walk with me.